So, if you're a fan of the channel, I don't need to tell you what just got announced. But something just as good, arguably even better, just happened.
But you are hunting. And now, every Ronin here is after you.
And these two games spell the end for Ubisoft. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Hazy Hezzy, and I like to talk about Yakuza games, but that's not all. For years, I and a lot of you have been praying that Ubisoft would release a pirate game, considering the success of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. A decade later, they gave us that pirate game, and well...
Skull and Bones is coming out next week, so I tried their open beta, and my final thoughts are, they ought to close it down, pimp, now!
And now, in the year of our Lord, Todd Howard, 2024, we are watching them flounder and botch the only other game we've asked for from them. An Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan. Now, I'm not here to detail the failures of these games. Those are well documented here on YouTube. I just want to take at the most recent news, mainly for Like a Pirate, and kick Ubisoft while they're down along the way. Now, I knew that RGG and Sega had big plans for this holiday season considering the release of the Like a Dragon TV show, but never would I have guessed we'd be getting a playable Majima game and a pirate game. Not only that, but take a look at this physical collector's edition. In recent years, these kinds of bundles have been underwhelming to say the least. But this gives me hope and an actual reason to fork over about a week's worth of groceries to get it. It might not be worth it for you, and it's something a financial advisor would put me in the back of a trunk for, but just look at that eye patch. I love it. Now, onto the actual game. And not to spoil anything, but I think I might owe RGG and Bryce Fairchild an apology. According to the trailer and the game's website, we do get to go to Nele Island. And considering we also get accompanied by a child, well, if you know, you know. I'm really hoping Pelicana gets more fleshed out in this game and moving forward because I think this is a solid evolution of the Shure PP cult from earlier games that I talk about in this video. Even though it looks like Bryce Fairchild is out of the picture, it looks like we're going to get a lot more detail on the Pelicana organization and the organizations surrounding it, as well as the fallout of all the nuclear waste that's apparently stored off the coast of Hawaii. So that'll be really interesting to see. I'm really interested to see how the series develops and adds to what we already know from the mainline games. And I'm really, really, really hoping that we address the Japanese warship that has been covered up by the government for over 40 plus years. Actually, shit. World War II, almost 70 years.
Yamato? ありゃ、戦艦ヤマトじゃ!
While the trailer we just got is pretty sparse on actual gameplay, it looks like we are back to the Yakuza combat system, which makes sense for this game, although I'm curious to see how they justify Majima being able to move like he did, or even better than he did 40 years ago. It also looks like we'll be returning to Honolulu as Majima, which will be very interesting to see. I'm curious about this BMX minigame that they teased. I wonder if that's part of the food delivery thing or if that's a separate thing entirely. Either way, I'm very excited to play as Goro Majima, captain of the Goro Pirates. Anyway, elderly protagonist disease aside, this looks like it's going to be a wild ride, and I hope this game, along with Ghost of Yote, end Ubisoft's streak of shit games, and maybe we get something playable from them in the future. Clearly they're taking note since now they've delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows, knowing they can't compete with Ghost of Yote, which I suspect is definitely going to take notes from what we would have wanted from an Assassin's Creed set in feudal Japan and just blow anything Ubisoft had planned out of the water. Is that a pun? I genuinely did not mean to do that. Fuck. Moving on. Now that the pirate game that we have been begging for is on its way, the future for gamers looks bright after mucking around in a live service hellhole for the past 2 or 3 years. Thanks for watching. More videos next week. Bye.
Never.